So I had this grad school assignment. So in the assignment that I had, I was asked to find a qualitative research article, and then it couldn't be just something like a meta analysis. It had to be something where there's some actual research was done, and it had to be about a population that I was thinking about uh, serving once I become full fledged out in the world, uh, all of the laurels I need counselor. So I found uh, there's this article that was in the Rutledge Journal of Mental Health, Religion, and Culture. And it was titled Exiters of Religious Fundamentalism, Reconstruction of Social Support and Relationships Related to Well-Being. And the study found exactly what it says, but it had like 24 interviews of people who disaffiliated with their religion. And when I read that, that was the first instance that I said, you know what? There's a lot of euphemisms for leaving your religion. You know, there's a lot, and there's a lot of euphemisms for atheists, heathens. You know, uh, those damn people who won't believe our religion. You know, there's a lot of euphemisms. Secularists. There's non-believers, nuns. There's oh my goodness. There's a lot of different ways to say it, right? But this article pretty much used all of them, but you know, in the proper ways. But it's very obvious to me whenever I'm reading um, literature in academic journals about atheists that the people conducting the research are trying to dance around the word atheist being used a lot. Um, so people who disaffiliated with their religion is not exactly equal to atheist, but it's like, hmm, hmm. They're not saying apostates because that would be, you know, that would conjure up in people's minds that they were leaving Islam, but the word dance, it's so it reminds me of how whenever Bernie Sanders says that he's a democratic socialist, his followers are like, "Oh, don't say the socialist word! Ah, no, 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 not socialist. You know, just say that you're progressive, or you know, whatever else. Don't throw the word socialist in there." But anyways, exiters, people who left their religion, are the ones that they're talking about in this, and yeah. Um, Here's the abstract. Basically, if you are in a fundamentalist version of the religion, it's harder to leave because uh, your ties to your social group are a little bit stronger because the fundamentalist religions they're more insular, right? So like all of your friends will be from the same religion and be in a community that's interconnected if you're part of a fundamentalist uh, religion. And so it's hard to leave, But as soon as you do finally leave, it's connected to your well-being if you join a non-religious group or find some other community that you can get involved in. And this doesn't seem like I don't know, very contestable in my opinion. I mean, this is my lived experience, and I don't see anyone uh, challenging the findings of this. But it's nice to see it put out there in an article, and also, you know, putting out different ways that people could uh, build on the research. There's a whole section for that, and the first thing that stands out to me about how this article could be improved is that there were 24 in-depth interviews, and you might know this from other YouTubers that uh, review scientific articles. Sample size is king, and when you have a smaller sample size, you are more likely to have error. Uh, it puts a certain bias into your research, you know. But when we go down to this introduction, you can see all the different things that I was talking about here. Religious disaffiliates, religious nuns, non-religious. Uh, you know, they're going over all of these different types of different ways that you could be uh, non-religious. You know, it's it's really full of terms that are not atheist to this point. Now the word atheist does show up in this. Let's see. Let's see here. Atheist 9 times, right? But it's it's snuck in there a couple times. So some of them are actually in the references. So um, 7 times in the actual paper, but it's not just talking about atheists because you don't have to leave spirituality to leave your religion. You can go from a fundamentalist version of Christianity to a softer version, and still be considered an exeter if you're going from, something really, really strict. Now, I don't want to show you like the whole thing, but here's another place where I thought that this study could be improved. When you look at the race makeup here, okay, you've got it says 83.3% white. Then it says 8.3% Latino and 8.3% biracial. Now, because there's 24 people, you can do the math really easily and see that 2 people were Latino and 2 people were biracial, right? Um, and then 20 people were white. That's the breakdown. So this is mostly white people who left religion, or the religion that they had. And here are the breakdowns here. They had one person who was a Seventh Day Adventist. Now they say it's 4.2%, but when you have 24 people, 4.2% is one person, right? They had one person who was evangelical, non or denominational as a Baptist, and then there was one person who was Baptist evangelical, non-denominational. Um, that those two, uh, I guess you're either a denominational or a non-denominational Baptist. Okay. Uh, if you look right here, there's 3 Mormons. There were 4 Jehovah's Witnesses, and the way that they're representing it, as a percentage when it's just 24 people, you know, 4 Jehovah's Witnesses becomes 16.7%. You know, um, anyways, the age range is not broken down very well. It just says that the ages range from 23 to 68. It doesn't tell you uh, what the average or mean or anything about their ages is, except for just the range. They could all be like older, except for that one 23-year-old being askew away from all the other ages. You don't know. It could be that there was like a whole bunch of undergrad students that were around 23, 24, 25, and then uh, that one person left could have been like a tenured professor who was 68. You don't know from these ages. Like that could have been improved. Like as far as a breakdown of the ages, I don't really get why you would even include this. The ages range from 23 to 68. What do you get out of that? Now, the way it broke down how many years they were out of religion, a third were between 3 and 5 years, a third were between 6 and 8 years, and a third were 9+ years. That's a little bit more meaningful to me. You know. Um, anyways, you can tell here that there was one queer person, one gay person. 80% here is how many people were heterosexual, and there were 3 bisexuals. So you take 3 plus 1 plus what was 5, so 19 people were heterosexual out of the 24. There you go. 19 people becomes 79.2%. I think what stands out to me the most though is that there's none of this research applying to African Americans who would want to leave their church, right? This is white, Latino, or biracial. And biracial, you don't know if there's any uh, African American people in there. You know what is the other? You don't know, but I definitely don't see black being represented here, and it might just be what week it is right now after all we've been through with the Black Lives Matter movement that this is on my mind. But it stands out to me as like, what the heck? Don't they leave religion too? Couldn't you find some people to be representative in your study? Is this the actual breakdown of Arizona State University students that uh, there's no people around you that you can find? This by the way was a study done at ASU, by the way. Um, and if I ever run into Andrea Nica, I owe her a cup of coffee because she got me through my grad school project on, pick out an article and talk about it and why it means something to you. Um, link in the description box. Actually, just the article name is in there, not a direct link, but you can find the DOI and find it that way. Um, you know, this is one of those where it's in a journal, but like the paywalls are weak. So like just the offerings of the journal, you could find it for free without even having to be affiliated with a college or pay for journal access or anything. You can just find it out there. But yeah, to me, this is an important study because I'm kind of invested in the secular community. Um, uh, I've been supporting the secular community in Denver for the last 10 years, about as long as I've had this YouTube channel. Um, I've experienced what it's like to exit a religion. I did so at a young age, but I have many friends who also had similar experiences at varying ages, and as an addiction counselor, I've been able to add to the resources that any agency I've been able to work for uh, has in terms of secular alternatives for not the non-religious population. You know, uh, I have a few flyers on my Google Drive in case I need them in a pinch for clients who could use a referral to the Secular Hub or Free Thinkers in AA or Rational Recovery or the Phoenix Gym or even a few religious treatment centers that don't proselytize too much to you. They keep it to a minimum, because it shouldn't be a barrier to treatment that you would have to face people pushing their religion on you just so you can get some addiction treatment. You know, Unfortunately, there's a lot of addiction centers that their core identity is linked to a church or a religion, and it's something provided by a church because uh, when you hit rock bottom with an addiction, you've burned all your bridges, and the only people that are going to love you, uh, for the most part, are people who feel like it's part of their spiritual identity to reach out to the people who are unwashed and unsavory to hang around with. And so it's those people who feel like they have a mission to reach those people, spiritually, that they're going to be rewarded with a heaven. Those are the people who set up treatment centers, and it's very hard to find uh, a good long treatment to send someone to that isn't going to, at least push people in a certain direction. And many treatment centers bring in outside 12-step groups, which always begin and end with a prayer when they do their meetings. And those meetings will be mandatory in order for you to stay in the treatment. And it's just a lot for people to go through when they're trying to work on themselves and get clean of drugs, to also have to have that struggle in their head of, God damn it, I hate to be in this position where people are pushing a religion on me that I didn't come for that. I came for help. So, um, for many people, that has been a barrier to them seeking treatment until they meet me. And then I'm like, oh no, we've got other alternatives. Here, go here, go here, go here. I'm like a gunslinger with the referrals to the secular community in Denver, because I've experienced a lot of the secular community and I support it. And so, um, oh look, someone in the chat says that I'm trash for that. Anyways, let's go to the chat, see what people are saying. Uh, I've got one person who's making a lot of chatter named the Captain. Okay. Um, he says he's so glad he caught me on a live. He saw my video and he thinks I'm a real sociopath. Well, that's just your opinion, man. I do have a sort of disconnection between my feelings and my thoughts sometimes, but no, not a sociopath. Other people who are actually the subject matter experts on that have already looked into that. Let's see. People who logic themselves into shitting over someone else's death over the internet drama is fucking crazy. Um, I'm just going to say that just the amount of chat that you've put into my stream, there's some people who get really heated and invested in other people. You yourself are invested. Uh, Otto says, "What up, my dude?" Hey, Otto. Um, Tinfoil Hatter says, "Do you believe in life after love, though?" I hope you cut that out and just meme the heck out of me. I read it. Sometimes I need to be careful with what I read. Uh, he says he's not religious, but ostensibly spiritual. Namaste. Okay, well, the coffee in me sees the coffee in you. Um, Tinfoil Hatter says, if there was a Dan Fogelberg religion, I might be susceptible to that. Haha. Are you under the power of gold? Uh, there's the captain again, called me absolute trash and my poor kids. Yes, my poor kids. Think about the kids. Let's bring them into this. He says, read what I said, you monster. Okay. Hi, Michelle. Welcome to my the end of my video where I just read the chat and respond to people. Oh, the captain says if you have a disconnection with people, perhaps you shouldn't be counseling people. What I'll say about that is most of the people that I've found in the behavioral health system, they're a little esoteric. They're a little unique. Auto Rank wants to know if I can defeat Von Helton in a foot sprint. Um, no, Otto. I broke each of my legs last year, so he could probably best me. I don't know what condition he's in right now, but I know that I can walk a dog. That's about it for me. And that's the end of the chat. So talk to you guys next time, and stay safe.